Hey guys, I'm Jax and I just saw Ryan Gosling's newest film, The Fall Guy. A film that follows a stuntman as he works on a big Hollywood production and he tries to win back the love of his life, who just so happens to be the director of the film. And also there's a conspiracy crime plot that feels a little tacked on, if I'm being honest, but it's there. To remind you mostly, I feel that this isn't just a movie about movies and movie making. This is a movie. And it's like, we gotta do like movie stuff. And so there's weird, wacky, over-the-top, outlandish shenanigans that go on and they're all crime-related. You know, murder, kidnapping, and all those movie things. But who cares about any of that? Because this film, at its heart, at its soul, is a film about movies, about movie making, but in particular about stunts and stunt work. And in particular, is that this film is about stunt men and women. This film really feels like a beautiful love letter to stunt work and the stunt men and women that create those stunts. This is a film that says, screw those big Hollywood superstar megastars, throw them in the bin. We don't need no big Hollywood superstar. The films that you love from your childhood, those big action films, yes, the big stars are what you remember, but they're not the ones who made the film. The people who made those action scenes that you love are stuntmen and women, and that is what this film is really about. And with that in mind, I'd like to talk about my favorite part of this film, Ryan Gosling. Any descriptive word you'd want to use for Ryan Gosling, he's got in this film. Sexy, charming, suave, cool, charismatic. Did I say cool already? He's very cool. So the Gos has been one of my favorite actors for forever. Like most people who see him in a movie, I go, oh my god, yes, a movie star. And so it is kind of pretty funny and a little weird to have this film that's all like, it's about the stuntmen. Let's make a movie about stuntmen, about appreciating the stunt guy. Who are we going to get to play the stunt guy? The most Hollywood man who's ever lived. The embodiment of Hollywood and the mega superstar. There's a lot to love in this movie. I really love the movie about movie making and following it from a stuntman's perspective. All of that stuff is super fun. The romance stuff is really, really fun as well. Him and Emily Blunt have amazing chemistry. Just palatable, palpable. Sexy people on screen being sexy. Honestly, I saw like parts of this and I'm like, my god, John Krasinski needs to watch out. It's just steamy stuff on screen. Some of the dialogue for the romance stuff is a little bit heavy-handed on the nose and a bit cheesy at times. Emily Blunt is amazing in this movie as well. She's very, very good, but we really do focus on Ryan Gosling. It is definitely more The Nice Guys, Barbie, The Gos, than it is Drive, Blade Runner 2049, The Gos. So for me, the film is at its best when it is a story about this stunt guy trying to win back the love of his life, who is the director of this big Hollywood blockbuster film. The big Hollywood blockbuster film is like a parody of like a Mad Max / Dune, and all of that is really, really fun. It's really cool. I mean, I personally just love movies about movie making, but seeing it from the stunt perspective is really cool. I feel like the first half is kind of the more exciting, and we just see all these really fun little insights to this stunt world. We just see the process of movie making as he's trying to win her back. It's like half action stunt, but kind of from the behind the scenes angle / romantic comedy, and that's awesome. And then the rest of the movie happens, and it's like, oh, this is like a movie now. It's not a movie about movie making, it's just a movie. I've seen movies before, and it just feels like, yeah, I've seen this. And sure, the stunts and the action and that kind of focus on it, and kind of that meta commentary that they do throughout it, where there's like things happening where it's like, it's a movie, but then people are like also making a movie, so they're commenting on like, what if we did this in the movie? And you're like, oh, that's like the same thing as what's happening in the movie that's happening, but you're talking about it in your fake movie as well. Parallels and meta commentary. I get it, comedy or whatever. And some of that works pretty well, but then at times we kind of fall into this thing where you're like, now it's just a movie. We're doing kidnapping, we're doing murder, we're doing wacky hijinks, and it's just outlandish, over-the-top insanity, but kind of feels a little generic. The kind of conspiracy mystery of it all feels pretty obvious and dumb at times. Some of it just kind of falls a little flat, where you're kind of like, oh, this is a movie. I love movies. So this isn't terrible by any means. But what I really loved about it, especially for the first half, was there are moments where like he's like having this like conflict with this woman, he's trying to win her back and all these things, but at the same time, We're seeing like these stunts performed from the stuntman's perspective as they're trying to make a big Mad Max Dune type movie. And so you're seeing this really interesting perspective and just infectious joy I just got from watching this about these people who make movies, who love making movies, making a movie about how much they love making movies, and stunts in particular. And all of that was really exciting and fun, and I felt infectious. Like when I was a little kid, baby boy, little, imagine this, but small. Still the beard, obviously, but small and like 6 years old. I saw Lord of the Rings and I'm like, I love movies. I want to make movies. And this film brings back that kind of childhood joy and wonder and awe of just like, movie making, movies and movie making, and just this awesome joy, but also this kind of insanity behind a project and maybe lead actors who are maybe insane. And maybe this film hates Tom Cruise. We'll get to it at the end. This film hates Tom Cruise. But there's just so much fun being had. There's really funny deep fake kind of commentary. There's really funny commentary on like this and that. Just, I don't know. I won't spoil all the things. But this film has a lot to say about Hollywood and modern day Hollywood and stunt work and like all just this stuff going on. And it's just glorious stuff. And then it's like, so we got to do a movie. And the stunt work and some of the jokes and stuff are all totally awesome and cool and fun. The stunt work in particular, I really, really like. If this had just been a day in the life of a stunt guy in Hollywood who's trying to win back his girl, who happens to be the director, making her first big Hollywood blockbuster film, I think that would be a better film. I think that would be a more enjoyable film. I think that would be a more kind of rewatchable film. I love this movie. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. But I think any negatives and any issues I have, I feel like come down to the weird, we're doing a movie. Not that we're making a movie about a movie, but we're doing a movie. And I just feel like if this had been more of like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just not necessarily as meandering as that, but I really feel like if it had just been a full day in the life, he's making this movie and he's got to get back to the love of his life, and just make that. I feel like I've talked about the one thing too much. It's funny, it's cool, there's action and stuff and stunts. There's some good stuff in this movie. There's some really, really good stuff in this movie. Yeah, I just wonder if maybe just do like a different movie. Do the same movie but completely different in a lot of ways. There is a beautiful, really like kind of heartwarming moment at the end. And so the credits have this beautiful behind the scenes kind of look at all the stunts you've seen throughout the movie and showing the actual stunt guys who do it, not like Ryan Gosling. And I thought that was all really, really nice. There was a moment early on in this film where I'm like, wow, this movie is so about like stunt men and women and the stunt people who make these films. I really hope there's like, almost like they do in like World War II movies where it's like based on true events, and at the end of the movie they just show clips of the people who are actually in the war, and you get like perspective shots of like actual things that you saw in the movie because it's based on true events. I kind of want to see that, but just the stunt guys, like Ryan Gosling being like, that's the guy who made this movie good. I mean, it's really me because I'm the most sexy, charming, charismatic man that's ever lived. And this face, the hair in this movie. Something about the hair in this just really works for me. But I wanted to have a scene of him being like, it's not all about my hair, although it's mostly about my hair. Sometimes it's about this guy. See, his hair, not as good as mine. It looks identical, but something about my face makes it better. But then he also says, but also he did the stunts. So that's pretty cool. And so all of that stuff at the end is really nice, and it feels like a really beautiful kind of like, yes, this is a film about stunt men and women. It's just a shame that Ryan Gosling is so charming, because that's the only thing I can think of when I think about this movie. It's just like, oh, he's very charming. Oh, and last thing, this movie hates Tom Cruise. There's like a whole subplot where like the main actor that Ryan Gosling stunts for, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, his name is Tom something or other, but his name is Tom. And he's a massive wanker, and everyone hates him, and he's real douchey and over the top and ridiculous and terrible, and a horrible, horrible person. And it gets worse and worse as the film goes on. But he's like trigger, like the thing that makes him angry is that like, he's like, I do my own stunts. He's always like all these babes. He's like, I do my own stunts. And the stunt guy's like, oh, hey, you do your own stunts, do you? Like, so he doesn't do his own stunts. And there's all this deep fake talk about how they put his face on other people's faces and all this stuff. And his name is Tom. And I'm like, this movie hates Tom Cruise. Because he's always like, I'm doing my own stunts. And maybe it's just a fun reference. And they're like, because he's the guy that does his own stunts, but everyone else that says that doesn't. But it really feels like the writer, or maybe a stunt guy working on it, or I know the director, David Leitch, was a stunt guy, They know stuff we don't know, and he doesn't do his own stunts. And it's all deepfake CGIing onto faces, because this movie goes out of its way, subtlety out the window. This movie hates Tom Cruise. So this movie loves movies. This movie loves stunts. You would think that this movie would love the movie star that loves stunts, Tom Cruise, but it doesn't. This movie hates Tom Cruise. This movie hates him. It's crazy. Or I've misread it, and it's just like a fun reference. And Tom is a common name. Tom is a very common name. I mean, it's not that common. Clearly, this movie hates Tom Cruise.